Hey hamsters! Bitcoin was created as money, which means, yes, in addition to being the star of many rags to riches stories, it also has been used to purchase some pretty interesting items. Grab a comfy seat and maybe a slice of pizza if you're feeling hungry, because this Hamster Academy is all about 6 of the most famous Bitcoin purchases, starting with the first Bitcoin purchase, pizza!
Pizza time.
2 Papa John's pizzas. Let's roll the wheel to May 22nd, 2010. This was the day a man named Laszlo Hanek, living in Florida, bought 2 pizzas. This transaction made history as the first ever item purchased with Bitcoin, costing a whopping 10,000 BTC.
What?
That's right, quite a stash of seeds for a couple of pies from Papa John's. At the time, Bitcoin was just a curious new digital currency with little real-world value. In fact, 10,000 BTC was worth about $41. As you can imagine, those pizzas were a steal in 2010. To arrange this transaction, Laszlo took to the Bitcoin Talk forum and put out a call for help. I'll pay 10,000 Bitcoins for a couple of pizzas, like maybe 2 large ones, so I have some left over for the next day, he posted, looking to satisfy his pizza craving with his digital fortune. In response, a British fellow decided to take Hanek up on his offer. These guys swooped in and bought the 2 pizzas for Hanek in exchange for a staggering 10,000 Bitcoins, which is, hard to say, a bit less than $600 million at today's prices. However, this was far from the last memorable purchase for Bitcoin. A McDonald's meal and a yellow Maserati. In 2011, Bitcoin still hadn't reached the highs we are seeing today. So the next memorable purchase is also food. One Aussie tech entrepreneur, Kane Ellis, cashed out 2 Bitcoins to grab a McDonald's meal. Back then, it was a small splurge, but today, that burger, fries, and Coke could be worth a cool 6 figures. Luckily for Kane, that was just a tiny slice of his Bitcoin stash. Fast forward a few years, and Kane's Bitcoin fortune had grown significantly. This time, he treated himself to something a bit more extravagant. He sold another small portion of his holdings and used the proceeds to buy a dazzling 200,000 Maserati in bright yellow. On the topic of cars, Number 3 on our list is a Tesla Model S. An anonymous Florida buyer rolled into a Lamborghini dealership in Newport Beach, California, entered a dealership known for their exotic cars. The dealership then made history by agreeing to a first-of-its-kind deal, stating in their blog, that's right, an electronic currency was used to purchase a fully electric vehicle. At the time, this Tesla was valued at $103,000, or 91.4 Bitcoins on the day of the sale. The purchase was initiated when the buyer reached out the previous Monday, inquiring whether Bitcoin could be used to cover the cost. After facing rejection from other sellers, this dealership agreed to the terms. We'd heard about Bitcoin before, but we weren't extremely familiar with it, the marketing director of the dealership admitted. So we did our homework and figured out how to convert it into dollars. To make this transaction a reality, the dealership ended up teaming up with Bitcoin payment processor BitPay. And fortunately, the buyer was very fortunate in the timing. Bitcoin, which we know often faces roller coaster price swings, dropped significantly in value just days after the sale. Awkward for the dealership, that is. An around-the-world trip. This next purchase is anonymous, so for the sake of this tale, let's call the next purchaser Mr. Smith. In 2010, Mr. Smith invested $3,000 into Bitcoin, then trading at just 15 cents, so his stash was nearly 20,000 Bitcoins. I knew from the very start that I was playing the long game, the anonymous buyer recalls. I wanted to see how high it could go. Smith started seeing Bitcoin go up 10% each day. When it hit $350 at 2,000% gain, he sold 2,000 of his coins. Then when it hit $800 a few days later, he sold another 2,000. After seeing Bitcoin go up, Mr. Smith raked in a cool $2.3 million. I quit my job and left on a round-the-world trip. A trip which lasted for 4 years. In one interview, he shared that he had traveled to Singapore, New York City, Las Vegas, Monaco, Moscow, back to New York City, Zurich, and Hong Kong. Of course, he's globe-trotting in style, flying in first class and dining at 5-star restaurants, enjoying gourmet meals prepared by top chefs.
But do not eat. Our menu is too precious for that.
A trip to space. The next major purchase on the list is a little more of a cosmic Bitcoin tale and features none other than the famous Winklevoss twins. The Winklevis snagged tickets to the edge of space on Virgin Galactic, and they paid for their interstellar journey with Bitcoin. This was made possible after the CEO of Virgin, Richard Branson, began accepting the cryptocurrency as payment for the $250,000 ticket in November 2013. Tyler initially announced their adventure on X and their personal blog, where they likened their adventure to the explorations of Marco Polo, Christopher Columbus, and Vasco da Gama. However, a later post on X went on to reflect on the decision, saying, "I won't make this mistake again." Why the post? Back in 2014, Bitcoin was valued at just $800 a coin. Fast forward to 2019, and Bitcoin is trading at a stellar $9,914.66, according to CoinDesk. Let's do the hamster math. A Virgin Galactic ticket was priced at $250,000, meaning Tyler's ticket would have cost him about 312.5 Bitcoins back then. That 312.5 Bitcoin stash would be worth nearly $3.1 million. An awfully expensive set of tickets, yeah. Bringing it back down to earth, literally, the next major purchase on the list? A piece of real estate. Back in 2014, another mystery buyer from Silicon Valley made headlines with their own purchase via Bitcoin. Using 2,739 Bitcoins, equivalent to about $1.6 million at the time, on a 1.4-acre plot of land near Lake Tahoe in California. According to the Wall Street Journal, this plot was nestled with a swanky 2,177-acre resort, and the buyer planned to build a dreamy home on the site.
Have you ever had a dream that you have?
But here's the twist. The identity of the Bitcoin buyer remained shrouded in secrecy until more recently. We now know this purchase can be attributed to Chamath Palihapitiya, the head honcho of social capital. Palihapitiya's current take on the purchase? At the time, Bitcoin was trading at just under $600 a coin. But today's soaring Bitcoin value would have bought him a whole lot more than just 1.4 acres. His succinct Twitter comment on the matter says it all. Hashtag FML. So hamsters, whether it's pizza, luxury cars, or a trip to the stars, Bitcoin's journey has been nothing short of extraordinary. Keep those wheels turning, and who knows what other epic Bitcoin tales will be spinning next. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and remember, hamsters have power. One for all and all for one. Bye!